I remember vividly holding this phone in front of me about 2 hours long, trying to film one short reel. And I think it was 60 seconds by the time. One time I put my blanket above me because I felt like I need something to kind of support me, to protect me. Nobody knew what I was doing. I wouldn't even have been able to tell anyone. And then I was here with that phone in hand, like the final boss in a video game, not being able to pull it through until I was. I remember the first time when I started the Instagram without having any prior social media experience, because I always was like, well, Facebook, blah, Instagram, I don't want to show off. I don't want to do all these things. But then I decided I want to open an online business as a coach. And I was like, where should I get the clients from? I'm living in German. I want to do my coaching in English because that's my preferred language. Like, I need to be on socials. So I decided Instagram it is. And I remember vividly holding this phone in front of me about 2 hours long, trying to film one short reel. And I think it was 60 seconds by the time. And I wasn't able to do it. I just wasn't. I looked at the positioning of the phone all the time. It was like, oh, I'm not looking good enough. Like the background it's not good enough. I need to have a different lighting. I need to have one time I put my blanket above me because I felt like I need something to kind of support me, to keep me safe, to protect me. And it literally took me 2 hours to do that. I know my son was in bed, my husband was away, nobody knew what I was doing. I wouldn't even have been able to tell anyone because it was kind of a shame that I was going down that road after saying for so many years that social media and me were not a fit. And then I was here with that phone in hand, like the final boss in a video game, not being able to pull it through until I was. And I know that day so vividly because it was one of the changing points in my entrepreneur journey, as well as in my journey from knowing myself. Maybe it was the first time I honestly looked at myself and said, like, wow, there's a lot of stuff. You can't even look at yourself on the phone and think about putting that online because you don't even like yourself enough. You don't even feel beautiful enough, worthy enough of what you're saying to make a 60-second reel. Like, here's some serious things going on. And even though before I was into psychology and all kind of religion and spirituality, I always was see the bookshelf behind me. I love to read and I love to get to know stuff about how universe works, how the mind works, how the humans work. But even with all of that background knowledge and serious interest in getting to know people, I wasn't able to pull that off for so long. And when I finally did on that very night, hiding in our hallway, which was kind of tiny and it didn't fit, and then I made myself do that, I know afterwards I feel like my shoulders were down at least 1 mile from compared to before, and I felt like a big door was opening up, one of these big old wooden heavy doors that you have in churches or temples or an old castle maybe. And I thought oh, that's gonna be a fun ride. And it was. It was about 4 years ago, and I have made at least one video ever since, every day. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. I've tried all of them to kind of prove myself that I'm not that shy girl anymore, that I'm not that insecure girl anymore, that I don't shy away from doing the thing that my soul calls me, which is empowering other women, because my ego is kind of, are you looking good? Like, you see me in the middle of the night, no makeup on, and I don't actually care. I don't actually care anymore. And if you would have told me that very night when I was battling myself with my phone, I would have never believed that it is possible for me to kind of not give a fuck about what other people think, or if I'm looking good enough, or if I'm speaking fast enough, or if the hook is coming out within the first 3 seconds, and then I need to like shake my screen so that I have a visual hook as well, and then the thumbnail and the cover and the caption and the thing and the stuff. Yeah, all of that might be important, but also all of that might not be important, because if your energy is off because you feel insecure, all of the other stuff, all of the strategic stuff isn't mattering at all. So when you're in that place right now, you think like, oh, I would love to. I have so much to share. I just had a call with a lovely woman who said exactly that. Like, I always had so much to share, but I couldn't make myself to turn the camera on. And as I was the same, I felt inspired to talk about this today, because I know that we're not the only ones. And if you are in a place where you say like, oh, I have so much to share, there might be video or written content, it's not actually mattering, but you don't, then just know that you can, even though you think you can't. And that there might be, very well, I would almost bet, a version of you inside of you that actually enjoys that. By now, I miss it when I don't make a video. I miss not being able to speak up. I can. I don't depend on it, but I love it, so I do it. And if I can do that, then you can do that too. And it's not that hard. It is about overcoming something that my first mentor called the terror barrier, which is the uncomfortable jump from the old version of you to a new version of you. And it feels like the most horrible thing ever. But afterwards, you realize that you don't die. The world's still spinning. People won't hate on you. And if they do, well, that's for another story, how to deal with hate comments that actually can give you so many lessons that are beautiful for you and needed. And like, you can learn so much, and you'll be so grateful at one point for people who are not nice to you on the internet. But all of that only can start if you start showing up for yourself. Not even for the other ones, but for yourself. Prove yourself that you can do the things that you were scared of, because most times the fear is not the sign to run away and turn directions as fast as possible, but the fear is actually pointing you to where you're meant to go. We don't talk about fear if you look from a 20-floor building and you look down. That's not the fear where you need to follow. The fear, we're talking the fear of saying something that you fear saying, of showing up for yourself or someone else where you feel uncomfortable to do so. We're talking about growth pain, which makes up maybe, 95% of all the fear that we have is the fear of experiencing something that we think is uncomfortable for us, but it's not life-threatening. So if you're listening to this, then that's your sign to ask yourself, like, what is it that I'm fearing? Where am I not showing up fully? Where am I holding myself back for whatever beautiful reason your mind and paradigm can come up with? And just for a second, without needing to actually do something, but just for a second, feel how that would feel if you would have done that already. Not while you're doing it, how it would feel if you would have already done it. How would you feel if you would already have filmed that video? How would you feel if you already have texted that person? How would you feel if you already have cold DM'd that company or that creator that you like? How would you feel? There's a lot of nervous system work that we can do for the in-between states of actually having done that and where you feel you're now. But it all starts with, how would you feel? Would love to know in the comments. We'll talk about that within the next video. Or videos. I have no idea what I want to create tomorrow, but I felt that this needed to be shared today for whoever needs to hear it and see it as a sign that it is to do the thing that your soul calls you, but your ego tries to pull you away from. Love you. All info in the captions. Reach out to me. I would love to know how you're feeling with that very thing. What that thing is, if you want to share. But just leave a like and come back to the next videos and get inspired to do the things that you thought you never could do as an entrepreneur, a mother, a highly sensitive soul on this earth, a light worker, however you want to identify yourself. I raise my hand on all of them, so I'm here for you. And my job is to empower you, to be there for you, to support you, which I love. That's why I started the whole face to camera thing in the first place. So love you. Good night.